27 minutes to 10, taking talkback 1 300 8729 11. Col Who Cares is on the line. Hello, Colin.
G'day, John. Happy New Year, mate.
Same to you, and thanks for calling in this morning.
Mate, well, what's happened while you've had your break and I've had my break? I didn't have much of a break. I had the main couple of days. We've been organising protests around the world for the turtle and dugong campaign. We've got one in London on the 19th of January with about 70 people confirmed going to that. It's going to be at the front of the High Commission office and telling our government representative in London of Australia's atrocious laws in relation to Indigenous hunting of turtles and dugongs. Also on the 20th we've got one in Wellington, New Zealand. They're all being held by EARTHRACE, Peter Bethune's group, on behalf of Bob, and handing in a letter to the High Commissioner there in Wellington on the 20th. And then we've got a monster one down in Brisbane on the 14th of February where we've invited all of the other animal groups, kangaroos, koalas, cassowaries, wombats, flying foxes, shark finning, and it'll be a monster rally right at the front of Parliament. We're going to tell this government in no uncertain terms, federally and state, that what they're doing is disgraceful and we're a disgrace around the world.
Well, the first of these protests is coming up in London on Thursday, is that right?
That's correct, yep. Outside the High Commission, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
All right, and the following day, Friday, in New Zealand.
Yeah, in Wellington. Scotty Bowman's handing a letter in for us there, and Lucy Byrne over in London handing the letter there on behalf of Bob. Bob's presented the letter and sent it over to him, and they're going to hand that in on his behalf, if they bother to accept it. But knowing our government's attitude to our native wildlife, I'll be surprised if they get in the front door, but we'll just see how it goes.
Cole, you wouldn't have been pushing this internationally if indeed this issue had got the attention it deserves here locally, would you?
No, never. If they'd listened to common sense and made Indigenous people responsible for cruelty under the Animal Care and Protection Act in Queensland, I wouldn't have said a word, because every Queenslander would have been covered for cruelty, and you'd never, go out to Green Island and witness those things at our tourist sea. That's just common sense. How they keep fighting that one is beyond every animal lover and person in Queensland, I'm sure of it. Everyone that knows that they faced up to 2 years jail and a $100,000 fine for an act of cruelty against a native animal, and one part of our society has no penalty. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know why these local four dodos here don't, put a cry out to their leader and say, listen, we've got to fix this anomaly. But they don't do it, mate. So we've got an election looming, and I'm going to make the most of it, and I'm going to highlight it to all of Brisbane, which we will probably, more than likely get national television that day. First day of Parliament, 1 o'clock till 2:30 outside on Speaker's Corner. Should be a beauty, so we're looking forward to that. And also the Tin Can Bay thing's reared its head again, where they're feeding the dolphins down there, and they're trying to ban that because they're trying to whack in those two big marinas, the Seymour group. So, there's a lot happening here to our marine life, and if we all just sit quietly, nothing's going to happen. So I think 2012 is going to be a good year for us. I think we're going to be able to, highlight it state-wise, and then into next year we'll highlight it federally, because we're not going away.
This Green Island issue is still front and centre in my mind, and recently we had another one of these slaughters out there. To his great credit, Vince Mundraby speaks very powerfully on this, but the problem is, of course, when you've got these various Indigenous groups that are basically bluing over their rights in this regard, there's still a hell of a long way to go in seeing this thing sorted out among those groups. Now, Vince is very, very strong on the issue. He's talked on this program about it, about the need for rangers who are quite appropriately given power to intervene in these issues, being based in places like Yarrabah. But we never seem to be able to get quite across the line. We never seem to be able to get them enforcing the regulations as they need to.
No, and that's the trouble. And until they unite and say enough's enough, we've got the Mandabara people, the Epongs down there at Innisfail, the 10-year moratorium. There's plenty of splinter groups. So they had a big festival down here in Gordonvale, which attended by all our Labor members. And what came out of that? Nothing. They put an approach to Tony Burke to tell them they still want to keep doing what they're doing. Well, one day we're going to have to wake up and say these animals are endangered. If we keep hunting them without any, collective agreement, there's going to be none left.
Yeah.
I really fear that. And they said in Abu Dhabi last year, that they're going to be extinct within 40 years. And while we're all sitting there twiddling our thumbs, nothing's going to change. But we've got the Discovery Channel going to cover the protest over there in London, and they're also going to come up here and do a series of shows on turtles and dugongs. It'll go out to the world to 300 million people, as well as what's going to be on Nat Geo. So, you know, this government, they keep putting their head in the sand, and I'll keep poking them in the backside while they're bending over, because it's not going to go away, and I'm not going to give up. And the people that we've roped in now are in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. So, you know, one day it's going to change, John, and you and I will never get off our backside, especially up here in these green zones. You know, these tourist operators that are struggling now, taking people out there. And I went out on one of the boats, and 95% were Asians out there having a look, and they go out there and they're witnessing that when they come here to our beautiful, our beautiful coastline. So, you know, if we want to keep these people coming here, and we're preaching to them on the way out there, don't take any coral, don't do this, don't do that, and then they see people there right in there amongst them, cutting up turtles alive. You know, what's going on?
Colin, I was just thinking too, that protest in London on Thursday, what is it, about 9 or 10 hours difference, isn't it? So by Friday, I don't know if you'd have, would you have any sort of report available for us Friday morning on the program?
Yeah, I will, and also I should have some video footage which I'll post onto our Facebook pages, because I'm up to Bob Irwin's pages too. I spoke to Bob yesterday, actually. He was one of the ones that talked down that young fellow off the gas coal seam drilling rig, and he went down to court with him yesterday, where he didn't even, you know, he got out on bail conditions with no conditions, so he's free to go back there. The magistrate was understanding, said he spent 2 days in jail, and Bob went down there to show his support. That little bloke, mate, in his 70s, and he's tireless, and he inspires me, and he inspires hundreds of thousands of others on Facebook and all those other pages. He's a gem.
Oh, he's a wonderful man. All right, then, Friday, I'd love to hear from you, Cole. That'd be great.
Okay, thanks, John.
Colin Riddell out at Edmonton, or Colin Akers. Time now is on 20 minutes to 10. Talkback numbers 1300 8729 11.
The sizzling 2012 KTM EXC.